Today I want to do a quick review of what happens when we multiply a fraction by a whole number or take a part of a group of wholes. In class, we did this activity using pretzels where you had to divide the pretzels into groups and figure out how many groups of the whole you were giving away to me, your lovely teacher. Okay, so for example, a problem like this: Susie has 12 pretzels and gives 3/4 to her teacher. How many pretzels does she give? First thing you want to do is maybe think of it in slightly different terms, right? I need 3/4 of a group of 12. So I've got a group of 12 pretzels, and I'm going to be giving 3/4 of those away to my teacher. So if I take a minute to do a quick estimate, right? A whole group of 12 would be 12. 3/4 of a group of 12 is going to be less than 12. So we know we should have an answer that is less than 12. But 3/4 is also bigger than 1/2. 1/2 of 12 is pretty easy to figure out. We all know that 1/2 of 12 is 6. So I should have an answer that's greater than 6. So I'm looking for an answer that's less than 12 and greater than 6. Okay. So I've got my 12 pretzels, and I need to give 3/4 of them away to my teacher. So 3/4, right, or 3/4, is a way of thinking of 3 out of every 4 pretzels have to go to my teacher. Or if I broke my pretzels into 4 groups, 3 of those groups would have to go to my teacher. So if I were going to model this problem, right, I could do the following. I could do my 12 pretzels in 4 groups, because I know I've got to take 3 out of those 4 groups. So here's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. You could also go down the other way and only do 3 per row and do 1, 2, 3, 4. Either way is fine. So I've got my pretzels now split into 4 groups, and I know I want to give 3 of those 4 groups to my teacher. So 1, 2, 3. So 9 total pretzels would go to my teacher, which works with our estimate, which was between 6 and 12. So that's a good basic way to solve a problem where you're multiplying a fraction times a whole. Now that worked out really well because 12 is divisible by 4. But what happens when you've got a number that is not divisible by 4? Or if you have a number that is not divisible by your denominator. So let's change this around a little bit. And let's say Susie has 14 pretzels, and she's giving 2/5 of them to her teacher. Okay. Well, if we think back to our last problem, where we did 3/4, we needed to take our 12 pretzels, put them in 4 groups, and we wanted 3 of those groups. Well, the same thing happens here. If we have 14 pretzels, we want to put them into 5 groups and take 2 of those groups. So how do I put 14 pretzels into 5 groups? Well, I'm going to do here's group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So there's 5 groups. I'm just going to number them down the side. And I'm going to start by putting 1 pretzel in each group. So now I've used 5 pretzels. Now I still have 9 pretzels left. I can put another whole pretzel in each group. Okay. Now I've used 10 pretzels. Now I've got 4 pretzels left, and those need to be split. We can't fill a whole nother set of groups with those 4 pretzels. So just for the moment, I'm going to put those 4 pretzels up top here. They're not going to stay there. But the way to think about it is that I need to take each of these 4 pretzels and split them evenly between my 5 groups. So if I'm going to take this 1 pretzel and split it evenly between my 5 groups, I'm going to put 1/5 of this pretzel in each group. Because I can split this one pretzel into 5 pizzas, and each of those fifths goes into a group. Now this pretzel is gone. Bye-bye, pretzel. Okay, same thing with the next one, right? I can put that one, I'm going to split it into fifths. It's a bit hard to draw 1/5 of a pretzel, so I'm just going to put it like that. Next one, right, that can get split. And then the fourth one, that can also get split. Okay, so each group now has 2 whole pretzels, and 2 and 4/5 pretzels in each group. And how many of the 5 groups am I giving to my teacher? Well, I'm giving her 2 of the groups. So here's 1 group, 2 groups. And what does that end up being in total? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pretzels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5 would make a whole, so that gets me up to 5 pretzels. And then another 3/5 of a pretzel. So in total, I would have 5 and 3/5 pretzels. So 2/5 of 14 would be 5 and 3/5 pretzels. Let's see if that answer makes sense, because 2/5 is a little bit smaller than a half, right? Because 2/4 would be a half. 2/5 is a little bit less than a half. Is 5 and 3/5 a little bit less than a half of 14? Yes, it is, because half of 14 is 7. So our answer makes sense.